Hi everybody, this is my second video for the day. Okay, this one is entitled Why I Will Never Stay During a Hurricane Ever Again. That was so terrifying, and I wasn't in the eye. We're on the East Coast, so it had already traveled over land, and we thought it was going through Orlando and Daytona, not really coming up here. So, and like I said, we're 80 miles north of Orlando and half hour north of Daytona. So really in hurricane miles, that's not very much now that I think about it, but it's my first hurricane. Let's see. Well, so imagine that you're by yourself, you're in an RV, it has a tin roof, and it rains nonstop, and I mean torrential rain, for, was it 36 hours? It just didn't stop. I mean, I know it was 24, I think it was 36. I'd have to go back and put those 2 days together, but and then you had these winds, and every time a huge wind would come by, this place would shake. Oh my God. And then when you lose power at 3 a.m. and you don't have anything to distract you, that's what now I had a flashlight, I'm trying to read. Oh my God. And I forgot I had a transistor radio. I remembered today. Oh my God, I have a transistor radio. What an idiot. Okay, so now I know, and I'll remember. But anyway, so it just went on and on and on and on. Finally, I just had enough. The power had gone out. That had happened 3 a.m. So around 9 that morning, I had charged my phone. So I got in my van to charge my phone, and I drove around. The wind's still going, the rain's still going, and I'm driving around in my van. So I thought, well, I'm going to go out off of the site here, and the RV site, and I'm going to go out and see what's going on out there. And it was just rain and wind and rain and wind, and it was dangerous. Like, I shouldn't have been out there, but I was. So but the really freaky thing is there's lots of trees where I'm at, and there were, maybe I saw that 6 trees at the end of it all, wherever I was, had broken, really big branches, or their trunk had split, but there wasn't that much. And the flooding, definitely some areas had the flooding, so not me. And I was right about the sand. So we have a canal 500 feet behind me. We have a canal, I don't know, maybe half a mile that way. So, and I'll tell you what, that water went right to the top of that canal. It didn't go any further. Right to the top. And then, like I said, when it stopped raining, it didn't even look like it rained, because the sand just sucks it up. But there were branches everywhere. And so I'm out cleaning up a little bit, and all that happened is I lost a couple of pots, things turned over, my back porch got kind of torn up. Nothing I can't just fix. I mean, it's basically what was on the back porch, just throw it out. So there was nothing expensive back there. It was just kind of junk. So I mean, I just really came out unscathed. I really did. A couple of pots are broken. Who cares? When you see the devastation that went on in Naples and in Cape Coral and Fort Myers, and oh my gosh, those people. Sanibel Island, Catalpa Island. Is that how you say it? Is it Catalpa Island? I don't. I actually spent time there. You think I'd know how to say it? I used to sing on Sanibel Island. Beautiful place. And the bridge collapsed, so people couldn't have gotten off if they wanted to, if they had waited too long. Whew. Yeah, that was something else. So here's the plan next time. Oh, let me tell you about my friend Renee and my friend Miriam. So again, two single women in RVs. So Renee, she's basically a Floridian. She's been here for a long, long time. So she's in a Class C van. So she lives in her van. And she's right by the canal. So she's, like kind of backed up to it. And she said in the middle of the night, she heard this crack. It was just huge. And she didn't know what it was. And then she went outside. And to go outside in that craziness, is not any easy, journey. So she goes outside and she can see that a huge limb had broken off the tree right behind her and just missed her van. I mean, just missed it. And then she looks and there's this river that's kind of forming under her van that's headed down to the canal, which her back end is there. So she's like up all night, right? Just stuck there because really the weather was so horrible for her to like just take off. It could have tipped her van over because the winds were so extreme. Of course, that could happen to me too, but I was too stupid not to move around. Yeah, okay. Then my friend Miriam, who's in Ormond, so Ormond Beach is 30 minutes south, right above Daytona, and she's in an RV, and her back door flies open, and she now has to hold the door until she can figure out how to secure it, because if she lets go of it, all the rain's coming into her RV. So she had to hold that door until it subsided just for a minute so she could grab something. So finally she realized she could use her shoelaces, and she ties her door shut and secures it that way until she could fix it. So that was her night. All three of us said never again. And again, both these women are basically Floridians. They've been here a really long time. They've been through other hurricanes, but all three of us said that what we're going to do is, I've got my Class B van. I'm going to put Miriam in it with me. We've got, Renee's got her Class C van, and we're taking a road trip. But there's no reason for me to be here. Like, if my place blows away, it blows away, and it'll blow away without me in it. So, I just never had experienced it, and so there was no way for me to really judge what I was letting myself in for. Oh boy. Now what's really, here's the good stuff. Our power went out at 3 in the morning, and they got it turned back on at 11 o'clock in the morning. That is crazy. And everybody said, be prepared, 8 days to 2 weeks. That's what everybody told me. And in the meantime, I'm making, provisions where I can put all my frozen food. I can put it in somebody that's got a freezer and a generator I'd made. And I also had taken big plastic bottles and frozen, with frozen water, and stuck them in the freezer, because that'll help really keep the freezer cold. So I had done that too. But I cannot believe that they had got the power on, and they got, I think, 500,000 people had their power turned back on within 24 hours. Unheard of. I mean, that's great leadership in this state. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of EMS trucks that had come in from other states. If somebody got left by the wayside, I'm telling you, it was rare, because it was so proactive. And I went out. I went to work today. I went to the center today, and Palm Coast looks like nothing happened here. Now, I haven't gone down to the beach. I did go down to the beach during the storm, and when I saw that water and saw the ocean and how ferocious it was, I got out of there fast, because that would take minutes to flood. Minutes. And it did. It was on its way, but I didn't know that. So, there was some real ignorance on my part, and now I know. Now I know. Jeez, oh Pete. So we had power right away. I've cleaned up quite a bit. I have probably another 2 hours to clean up. Maybe 3, where I clean off the back porch. I'm going to throw some stuff away. I already, rinsed a lot of stuff down. I'm just doing a little at a time. So let me tell you, I didn't realize how traumatized I was by it. And that, the next morning when it finally all stopped, Friday morning, it was just like quiet. It's like, oh my God, it's quiet. Oh, I'm listening to that rain. Listening to that rain and wind nonstop can almost drive you crazy. It was horrible. So I called, Dr. Snell Gretchen, who's, one of my best friends, and I was talking to her, and she could hear my voice, how shaky I was. And I said, I was kind of crying, and I said, God, I just never will do that again. And so she told me to take a couple of homeopathics. One of them was aconitum. So I took 2 of those. She said, take 2 in the morning, 2 at night, and then and again today. And then she said, and then later on in the day, take Ignatia, which I did take, and it was a real strong one. So I took that yesterday afternoon and this afternoon, and I'll tell you, they calmed me right down. Those homeopathics, man, they work. And so it calmed me right down, but I was shaky. I when I would talk, shake, and whenever I would think about the suffering that had gone on in the state, the people that didn't make it out, how quickly, the cities had flooded, which had trapped people. I was in tears because I could feel the trauma, because I had been, a bit traumatized just by being in the middle of the wind and the rain. And I wasn't in a full-blown hurricane. That's the thing. Call me a wuss, but, I never want to experience that again. I really don't. And, I've never been in a fire. I've never been in a tornado. I've never had lightning strike close to me. I've really pretty much gone through life. I've never, earthquakes, a couple of earthquakes in Seattle, not huge, but they got my attention. Actually, after the last one, I said to my husband, I'm out here. I said, you can get away from other things. Like, you can drive out and leave when there's a hurricane. You can maybe, you can go down in a basement if there's a tornado. When there's an earthquake, you're done. There's nothing you can do. The ground is shaking. So that last one that was in Seattle, and Seattle is so overdue. And, that was pretty freaky. I wanted to get out of Seattle anyway. The earthquake was just a good reason to go. And there's like one bridge that connects Seattle, the mainland, to West Seattle, and I lived in West Seattle, and that bridge goes, and actually they actually have closed the bridge. And the bridge is really old, and now you have to drive around to get it, and the traffic's already horrible in Seattle. I can't even imagine trying to get around. But I just didn't want to stay around for that drama at all. My gut told me to go, and it was a good time to go because we went to Detroit, and that just turned out really well. So my friend Pete, he's a subscriber here, he says, well, if your neighbor's going, maybe you want to go. But 50% of the people left, and the other 50% stayed here. What they did is they left, they took their trailers, they left, I don't know where they went somewhere, they were out of the path, and they all came back this morning. So I'm going to do the same thing. Yep. Sometimes I'm not the brightest bulb, I can just say. And the animals were totally cool. They were totally cool. Oh, really? Wind and rain, hurricane? Yeah, whatever. Do we have any catnip? So, just wanted to let you know how I did. All right, then, everybody. Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours. May everything in that garden grow. And I'm sending you a ton of love. Okay, see you later. Bye.